Thanks so much for the introduction, Michelle. And I'm just going to go ahead and share some slides. Oops, let me start from the beginning here. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me, Michelle?
Yes.
Great. Great. Yay. So anyways, thank you all so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Michelle, thank you for the introduction. And it's been so wonderful to hear about, the previous presentations from GrizzlyCorps fellows. And I just want to first express thanks to those who are tuning in today. I know there's other GrizzlyCorps fellows on the line, the GrizzlyCorps staff. I know some of the CAF staff is here, my host site, and I'm so grateful to you all. Some previous mentors and current mentors of mine, as well as educators. So I just want to, extend gratitude to you all for carving out some time to listen today. I'm going to be talking about the ecological farming program at CAF, my work over the past 11 months, and some of the outreach and assessment work that I've been up to. So as Michelle mentioned, I am working with Community Alliance with Family Farmers, which is a California nonprofit based in Davis, California. And CAF is a wonderful organization that supports small to mid-size family farmers throughout the state of California through a variety of programs focused on policy, farmer services, farm to market, and the ecological farming program. And I've been so grateful to work with CAF's ecological farming program throughout the past 11 months, where we support farmers who are interested in adopting or have adopted regenerative agriculture practices. And we support this type of work through on-farm research and demonstration projects, through one-on-one support or technical assistance to farmers who have adopted the practices or are interested in adopting the practices, and also just disseminating the good news out to the public about this type of work. And that could be through outreach and extension materials that take the form of a case study or a like a blog post or a policy brief, a literature review, things of that nature. I've been so grateful to work with the director of the ecological farming program throughout my GrizzlyCorps term of service, Sarah Tiffany. Sarah and I have met in person, and we have been able to work together in person, but failed to take a picture together in person. So I have defaulted to a virtual photo of the two of us taken on my one of my last days of service. So that is Sarah and I in the bottom right-hand corner, and have thoroughly enjoyed my work with her throughout my term of service. Kind of at the onset of my term of service with CAF, Sarah and I sat down and talked about the needs, the capacity building needs of the ecological farming program, and married those, or I guess thought of those critically in pair with my interests as a GrizzlyCorps fellow. And as we kind of started to as we started to think of like what my projects would be, we solidified the three following projects, which are: 1, to support on-farm research and demonstration projects; 2, develop education and extension materials; and 3, facilitate farmer-to-farmer knowledge share. And so throughout the rest of my presentation, I will just kind of touch on some highlights throughout my GrizzlyCorps term of service related to these three projects. So I guess at the very start of my term of service in the fall of 2020, Sarah, one of my other wonderful coworkers, Emily, and I set out to the fields to work on CAF's cover cropping and orchard systems project, which is a trial run through CAF, but also we have a Healthy Soils Program demonstration project as well. So in total, we partner with about 6 growers throughout the Sacramento Valley who are establishing cover crops in their nut orchard systems, whether it be pistachios, almonds, or walnuts. And we look at a wide variety of soil health metrics through one, taking soil samples using an auger and sending those off to the laboratory for analysis. 2, looking at water infiltration rates, which is looking at, the rate of water percolating or disseminating into the soil profile. Looking at first a dry infiltration rate and a wet infiltration rate, which you can see on the left-hand side of the picture, or I guess on the screen in the first picture. And then one other measurement is looking at the bulk density of the soil as well. So the picture on the right is a picture of CAF's beloved office at Glide Ranch in Davis, California, and all of our soil samples lined up, ready to be sent for analysis at a laboratory. As I was heading into the winter and spring of my GrizzlyCorps term of service, I was so grateful to be able to head out into the field and work on CAF's BIOS project, which stands for the Biologically Integrated Orchard Systems Project, headed by my wonderful coworker, Hannah Call, who is in the left of the picture. And this project is looking at, or I guess assessing the prevalence of 2 primary pests in walnut orchards, 1, the navel orangeworm, and 2, codling moth, and disrupting their mating cycles through pheromone emitters, also known as puffers. And so this work was quite labor intensive. We were out in the fields probably for a stint of 2 weeks to set up the project. For about like 8 hours a day. And I was so grateful to work with Hannah and Sarah and Emily, and then the 2 field technicians who work day in and day out at the fields to kind of assess the project on a day-to-day basis, which is Miguel and Moe. So following like the initial setup, we also assessed the infestation rate through looking at the prevalence of the larva in the nuts, and also releasing predatory mites into the fields to address the pests of spiders, and also been able to do a little bit of monitoring of the insect traps as well. So yeah, this project is also located throughout the Sacramento Valley and the North San Joaquin Valley. And this is a video of us just recently, as we release the predatory mites into the field. I believe I have it right here, and I'm hoping you can see. This is in slow motion, a video of 2 of my coworkers sprinkling the predatory mites in the field. It kind of reminded us of a Parmesan cheese kind of like shaker in some ways. But yeah, ideally that these mites would establish habitat in the cover crop. Unfortunately, this is a video of the control. We also release these in the cover cropped plots as well, and disrupt the life cycle of the spiders. And lastly, some of the other field work that I was grateful to be a part of was to sample some cover crop biomass at some of our partner farms in the Sacramento Valley and San Joaquin Valley. That's a picture of Sarah on the left, taking a healthy sample of cover crop, and then also take soil samples at a wonderful farm based in Winters, California, where they integrate sheep into their walnut orchards, and assessing the health of their agriculture system kind of compared to a certified organic farm, and looking at the differences, like I said, in the health of their agriculture system. So kind of the field work component to my GrizzlyCorps term of service was wonderful. It was kind of timely and temporary in some ways. It wasn't something that was scheduled each week, but rather kind of filled blocks of time in the fall, winter, and spring, and had a wonderful time engaging in the work. So the second program, or I guess project that I worked on throughout my GrizzlyCorps term of service was related to developing education and extension materials for farmers. The ecological farming program has a pillar or a priority within our work to start to transition some of our time and efforts to developing education and extension resources for farmers based on the results of a lot of the on-farm research trials the program has been involved in the past 3 years or so. And so a lot of my work looked like processing data, synthesizing data sheets, taking the data that had been collected over the past 3 years and synthesizing it into graphs for farmers that communicated science in a way that was accessible, empowering, and enriching. And I think this is an area of work that I'm getting more and more excited about and interested in growing in. Farmers have a lot to do and only a limited time to do it. And if there's a way that we can present research from regenerative agriculture in a way that is accessible, I think that is definitely a need for farmers in our time. So anyways, these graphs look at, metrics of soil health, such as soil organic matter, total carbon in the soil, and total nitrogen at different depths, and see how they vary in cover crop versus control plots. This is also looking at, like I was mentioning, wet infiltration rates. I was grateful to use my data visualization skills using the R programming language, but also think about statistical models and how to statistically represent the data at hand and see if there's any statistically significant differences between the data as well. I had a little bit experience with statistics in undergraduate, but really had to lean on some support systems and seek out support from a statistician and also my wonderful colleague, Hannah Call, to do some of this work as well. So again, I'm so grateful for their support. The graph on the left is illustrating some of our findings from our biointensive no-till research project, where we're looking at the health of the farming system when implementing a no-till agriculture system, where you're not using heavy mechanized machinery to till the soil under, but rather allowing the soil structure to stay in place over time. And so these results just kind of look at how carbon in the soil is increasing throughout the age of the agriculture system. In our no-till plot, we see that our highest carbon levels are, in no-till plots that are of age 10 to 13 years old, as opposed to, 1 to 3 years old. So these are really exciting findings to share. And I've gone ahead and created some soil health reports in collaboration with my colleagues. And again, thinking about ways of disseminating information out to farmers in a way that is accessible, empowering, and enriching. And I'm looking forward to further refining this area of work in the future. Lastly, another project that I was starting to work in was facilitating farmer-to-farmer knowledge share. We know throughout our line of work that farmers are interested in regenerative agriculture practices, but it's hard to sometimes process the information or implement them on your farm. And we know that some of the best educators out there are other farmers. And so we wanted we want to figure out a way to uplift the voice of farmers so that they can share the good news with their colleagues and the ones that they trust. And so some ways that I was able to engage in this area of work was support the development of farm educational videos. This pictured here is my supervisor, Sarah, and a filmographer from the area, Anne, and a local farmer out in Winters, California, talking about their farming system. And also recently, I've been assisting with farmer interviews where we're hearing the stories and the experiences of farmers throughout the Sacramento Valley who are really sharing about their motivations and their barriers to adopting more soil health practices. And so I'm looking forward to transcribing those interviews and coding those interviews to create well-synthesized narratives to document the lived experiences of farmers and what motivates them and what challenges they face regarding regenerative agriculture. So with that, that's a little bit of a synopsis of my time as a GrizzlyCorps fellow with CAF. It's been such a joy to work with first the amazing farmers who partner with CAF's ecological farming team. And I'm so grateful for their trust and their contribution to this line of work. It wouldn't be possible without them. I'm so incredibly grateful to CAF's staff. Not only have I been working on these GrizzlyCorps projects, but also been welcomed into larger conversations that take place at CAF regarding racial equity work that I'm so grateful to be a part of, and hoping to continue to engage in specifically related to the ecological farming program. I'd also love to thank the GrizzlyCorps fellows. It's been a wonderful time getting to know you all, and I hope we can stay in touch. Also, Michelle and Eliza and Ken, the staff of the GrizzlyCorps program, also Amelia Laka, and all my friends and family. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with CAF, that I am excited to announce that I will be returning for a second term of service as a GrizzlyCorps fellow for the 2021-22 term of service. So I look forward to returning to CAF, engaging in this wonderful line of work with the CAF staff, and also get to know the incoming cohort of the GrizzlyCorps program. So thank you all very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rose. And at this time, I would also like to open the dialogue space up to for anyone who has any questions that they would like to ask Rose in either about her service next year or more generally. Got many congrats in the chat from your supporters, Rose. But if anyone has questions, feel free to shoot them into either the chat or the Q&A box. You can also raise your hand and we can go from there. Many congrats. And excited to.
Also, apologies for the raspy voice. I have a little bit of a cold. So.
You sound great.
Rose, what are you most looking forward to next year?
Thanks, Eliza. Gosh, well, Sarah and I have had some wonderful conversations, about my next term of service and what that looks like. I really, I guess, agree with Jesse that this first year has just been kind of like laying the foundation, getting to know folks at our host sites, and I'm looking forward to build upon the current work that I've been able to engage in at CAF. Some things that really excite me are building out the racial equity work at CAF and within the ecological farming program. Also really critically thinking about the climate emergencies that are facing the agriculture system, both fire and drought, and how the ecological farming program can engage in that line of work, and also build out my understanding and continue to learn about the topic of science communication and how to disseminate information in an equitable manner.
Thank you. It looks like Yvonne raised their hand, so I'm going to allow them to talk.
Rose, it's Yvonne and Cole here actually. And I was just wondering, in going out, and I know that the farmer to farmer work is really important, and also being able to interact with farmers has been really special and important for you. And I'm just wondering what farmers have seemed to be most excited about and engaged with, and like what in the work you're doing seems the most relevant and exciting for the farmers that you work with.
Great question.
That's a good question. I think one of the best sources of feedback that I received from a farmer was, or I don't know if it would necessarily be feedback, but in regards to these soil health reports, these documents that we're sharing with farmers that illustrate these scientific results, being able to share that with farmers has been a wonderful experience. And an unintended, I guess, surprise is that the farmers also wanted to share it with their CSA network. And so using it as a way to also market that, you know, farmers are engaging in this line of work and want others to know about it, that's super motivating to me. And I think it's motivating to the grower as well. So yeah, I guess just realizing that your work goes beyond those that you intend for it to benefit immediately, and recognizing it can have that greater impact.
That's great. Thank you so much.
And Dave hopes that you can solve both the drought and fire problems seen in California right now. So it's all on you, Rose.
No, I hope Dave can do that with me.
And another congratulations from Sarah. And yeah, who actually would like to talk. So you are able to unmute and say any thoughts you have for Rose, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, Rose. Sending my greetings from a spot that you know well in the Sierra Nevada. I just wanted to point out that the soil health reports that Rose developed, which included, you know, summaries of 3 years of a whole lot of soil data that we've collected, as well as really great visualizations that farmers were able to fully digest and, like she said, share with their CSA, share with supporters of their farms. That was entirely Rose's idea. I mean, and I think it's just an amazing demonstration of how she just saw opportunities and took initiatives. And I just wanted to share that, and to share our deep gratitude. And yeah, we're just so excited you're staying on for another term.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, we also feel very lucky to have Rose continuing her service. Wonderful. All right, then with
I don't know if
that,
Yvonne is asking another question or if Yvonne's hand is still raised from the first.
oh, I think
Oh,
it was
okay.
still raised. Okay.
I didn't want to ignore it. So.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for checking that. Yeah, then if we have no more questions for Rose, with that, we have actually reached the end of our first day of GrizzlyCorps graduation.